From the heart of the Black Country.
When I was a robber.
The day before this first take was laid down, the Beatles had embarked on their mad day out across London. Left to their own devices to stage the poses for themselves, the Beatles could not help but reference the inner turmoil which was going on within the group at that time. Rifts had become apparent since the Beatles had returned from Rishikesh. Ringo left India first, followed by Paul, and then George with John. All had very different experiences with transcendental meditation, causing disharmony in the group. As the White Album session started, Ringo stormed out, and there was palpable tension in the air, with Yoko Ono attending John each day at the studio. In his 1980 Playboy interview, John recounts his own view at that time.
I don't think I had anything to do with it. Ask him. I don't feel as though I had anything to do with it. He said it was written about Julian, my child, because he knew I was splitting with Sin and leaving Julian then. So he was on driving towards to visit me or Julian. I think it was just to see Julian to sort of say hi to him, because he'd been like an uncle. You know, he was always good with kids. And he'd come up with, "Hey Jude." But I always heard it as a song to me. If you think about it, Yoko's just come into the picture. He's saying, "Hey Jude, hey John." I mean, so I'm sounding like one of those fans that's writing things into it, but you can hear it as a song to me. Although it's also a song about him and Franny Schwartz at the time too. But you hear the lines of chip on your shoulder and all those things. I always took personally, because I was the one with the chip on the shoulder, and go out and get her, you know, and forget everything else. So subconsciously I take it that he was saying, go ahead. Right. On a conscious level, he didn't want me to go ahead. Subconsciously, the angel in him was saying, bless you. Yeah. The devil in him didn't like it at all, because he didn't want to lose his partner.
By July, it was high time to release another single, and there was a lot riding on it, as this was to be the first single to be released on the Beatles' own Apple record label. Rehearsals started in their familiar home of Studio 2 at EMI on Monday the 29th of July, but minus George Martin. George would be there the following day, which is also filmed for a documentary for the National Music Council. Before one of the early takes begins, an impromptu jam of W.C. Handy's St. Louis Blues begins.
When do I hate to see the evening sun go? I hate to see the evening sun go down. Yeah.
As an aside, Billy Preston played W.C. Handy as a boy in a 1958 movie of the same name.
I was only listening, Papa.
Charles, you know how he is about music.
It's the devil's music. I talk of the Lord and he listens to Satan.
No, I don't listen to him, Papa.
The Beatles also improvised Ray Charles's Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying, which they would later jam for the Get Back sessions.
Oh, don't let the sun catch you crying. Crying at my front door. You done daddy dirty now. And honey, he don't love you no more.
The mood appeared good-humoured, with John jokingly encouraging Ringo to strip off.
Boogie, 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 boogie.
I keep getting my trousers caught on the pedal. I take them off.
However, from the off, an argument arose between Paul and George, resulting in Paul vetoing George's suggested lead guitar part, framed as a response to each line of Paul's vocals. As a result, George Harrison does not take part in any of this day's takes, and he can be seen in the film sitting beside George Martin. How heated was the argument is unknown, but in the film clips, George, maybe conscious that the cameras were on him, can be seen smiling, relaxed, and offering encouragement to the others via the talkback.
Hey, 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 Okay, lads, we're on.
I'm too great if you do twist and shout.
Okay.
The master track was recorded the following day at Trident Studios, which was selected as having the only 8-track facility in London, with George back on electric, with once more Paul on piano, John on acoustic, and Ringo on drums. George plays a few linking passages, whilst Paul finalises the lyrics, most notably changing "She has found you, now go and get her" to "You have found her, now go and get her."
Hey Jude, don't let me down. She has found you, now go and get her. You have found her, now go and get her.
On the final day, also at Trident, bass, lead and backing vocals were overdubbed. A 36-piece orchestra was somehow crammed into Trident's tiny central London studios, with the trombones put at the front so they wouldn't poke anyone's heads. George Martin, as ever, contributed the score. Whilst Paul was photographed conducting the orchestra. However, there was one dissenting voice, asked to sing and clap their hands to the playout for double their rates. All but one of the players obliged. One guy left the studio declaring, "I'm not going to clap my hands and sing Paul McCartney's bloody song." Disagreement arose again over the choice of the A-side. John lobbied hard for his own Revolution, which was vetoed by the others who chose Hey Jude instead. As John recounted for his interview with Rolling Stone in 1970,
When George and Paul and all them were on holiday, I made Revolution, which is on the LP, and Revolution number 9, I wanted to put it out as a single, but they said it wasn't good enough. They came home, I had it all prepared, and they came back and said it wasn't good enough, and we put out what? Hello, Goodbye, or some shit, I don't know. No, we put Hey Jude, sorry, which was worth it, but we could have had both, you know.
Showing true leadership qualities, John did not veto Hey Jude as the A-side, and certainly saw the appeal of the song as acknowledged in his 1980 Playboy interview.
Hey Jude is Paul's. It's one of his masterpieces.
A month later, the Beatles went to Twickenham Film Studios to shoot the promo videos for both Hey Jude and Revolution, directed once again by Michael Lindsay Hogg, who had previously directed Paperback Writer and Rain. Performing to a backing track, only Paul's vocals were recorded live. Hey Jude is the biggest selling debut release for any record label and remains the Beatles' most commercially successful single, having sold over 8 million copies.